MK Party leader Dr Hlophe, Parliamentary leader, Dr John Hlophe has resigned from the Judicial Services Commission. The party has written to the National Assembly to withdraw the nomination of Dr Hlophe as one of the designated members of the National Assembly to serve in the JSC. Dr Hlophe, who was removed from office as a judge president of the Western Cape, resigns amid a cloud over the legality of his designation to the JSC, which is the subject of a court review. To expand on the matter, we're joined in studio by spokesperson for the uMkhonto weSizwe party, Nhlamulo Ndhlela. Very good evening to you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening to you. Good evening to your viewers.
You, as a party, had put in so much effort to have your parliamentary leader, Dr. John Hlophe, represent the MK party at the JSC to withdraw. What happened?
No, we have not necessarily withdrawn, and it's not a futile exercise.
Yeah.
The reality is, firstly, we had to challenge the process because there's clearly the DA, and in this case also more so the court, was overreaching. And we needed to ensure that we highlight the issue of separation of powers. Courts cannot dictate processes of parliament. Dr. Hlophe was nominated and appointed to participate in the JSC democratically. The DA lost that vote. So it's not a futile exercise. Mm-hmm. What is happening here is we can't associate Dr. Hlophe, neither can he associate himself with a process that is fraudulent. It would be misrepresentation. Misrepresentation in the sense that he would then be expected to be present but not participate. I mean, how do you not participate in something that you ought to be present in?
Yeah.
So it's not a futile exercise. If, let's say, any decisions are taken and a certain judge is chosen, 2 years down the line, people want to question who that person is. Guess who would have been associated with that process? Dr. Hlophe, a process that he would have been present in, but not a participant of.
So you say it's not a futile exercise. Why do you say that?
No, for exactly that reason. It's not a futile exercise. We had to expose, firstly, this system. Another thing is we had to challenge this system. And when I say it's not a futile exercise, I've just unpacked that in the end, him resigning is because he cannot be associated with a fraudulent process that's unconstitutional. This is a misrepresentation of the people's will. We are voted in Parliament by people. Parliament takes its own decisions. Courts should stop overreaching. Judges ought to ensure that they oversee the implementation of the law, not fiddle and build a moving car and make their laws and make Hlophe laws and make Zuma laws. This is what's happening. That's why we're saying that we don't even want this constitution. It needs to be totally overhauled.
But you know, critics who have been behind this, I mean, civil society, parties like the DA, as you and I speak, they've held this as a victory. They say they viewed this withdrawal as a victory, saying they've long argued that an impeached judge with a record of gross misconduct should not have a seat on the JSC.
Well, unfortunately, the DA is the most short-sighted political party in this country, run by racists. Here's the reality. We have not abandoned Part B of their application. So what win are they referring to? We're still going to challenge that. And Part B speaks to whether an impeached person as per Section 47 can participate in the JSC. That's what it is. So we've not withdrawn the case. We've not withdrawn from the case. We're going to continue to challenge it.
Okay, so this is the first part of it.
This is what I'm saying. So resigning does not necessarily mean we're dropping the fight. Not at all. We're not copping out. We're not cowards. We're going to deal with the DA and this process head on. And the DA, by the way, was challenging this off the back of morality. I mean, who is the DA to tell anyone about morality? A bunch of racists who will never show up, including the same freedom under law and all these other institutions. Where are they when a 6-year-old child is being driven over by a racist farmer for enjoying the fruits of their soil in the form of an orange? Where are they? Where are they when it comes to morality then? Where are they when a 72-year-old woman is mauled by pit bulls on a racist farmer's farm in the Western Cape? All of this happening in the Western Cape under their nose. Do you see any of them ever saying anything about that?
So the arguments around here have centered around the rationality of delegating someone who was found guilty of gross misconduct by the JSC. That's where the argument has been centered. And that itself is something we can't just sweep under the carpet.
No, but I mean, that's exactly the issue here. Dr. Hlophe is a member of Parliament.
Yeah.
Okay? And you're not restricted as a member of Parliament in terms of which committee or commission you can participate in or partake in. Like I said, due process was followed like any other Judicial Services Commission has been set up in the past. The same process was followed here.
So
Dr. Hlophe is eligible to participate.
Irrespective of a past,
Dr. Hlophe is eligible to participate. And let's look at the issue of so-called gross misconduct.
Yeah.
What is that gross misconduct? That's the thing. Most people don't even know what the gross misconduct is. The gross misconduct issue is because all Dr. Hlophe said was to say, it's out of my hands, it's now in your hands.
Yeah.
You gentlemen will deal with it accordingly and within the law. That's basically what he said. And then he was seen to be said to be twisting his colleagues' arms. That's utter nonsense. And then a political decision is then taken to impeach him by the same GNU. By the way, it's now rearing its ugly head in the form of a DA raising courts and using courts arbitrarily to deal with political scores on an ad hoc basis. We can't afford that.
So in your statement, you say the JSC failed to meet the prescribed minimum threshold of 3 members from opposition parties. And so what are you saying happens now in this process? Are you saying that will the October seating of interviews go ahead without an MKP representative?
Well, what we need to do, we're making a determination as to what is the best route. Right now, we're saying we can't be associated with fraudulent process. Dr. Hlophe can't be blemished off the back of a blemished process. And that's what it is. And we'll continue to challenge the issue of Part B of the DA's application.
Are you saying you're not going to nominate anyone in this?
No, but remember, when you're appointed to the JSC and nominated to the JSC, you can't identify or nominate an alternate. So we're sitting in a situation where we don't have an alternate as it is. But even that being the case, we can't participate in this process because Dr. Hlophe is our candidate. Dr. Hlophe is the most skilled person in most cases, and chances are, even in that room.
Okay, yeah, we can't discount the skills, but there is a history that we've been arguing very much, you and I, in studio since you came in here. But with this process now, as it stands...
Well, I get back to the same issue.
Yeah.
You're referring to the gross misconduct which led to impeachment. Remember, where does it talk about impeachment that you can't participate by virtue of being impeached? Where in the law does it say that? That you can't participate in the JSC because of being impeached? Where does it say that? Nowhere.
So how are you going to take this metaphor?
So we can't be talking and using impeachment as a basis for him not being able to participate, when in actual fact he was nominated, participated, voted in as per Section 47 of the Constitution. And then today we want to say that then the courts today want to question the same Constitution that gave them the powers, and the same Parliament who's been given powers by the Constitution to actually form its own rules and privileges, as is the case here. So they can't come and tell us.
What is the way forward? Sorry to cut you.
The way forward is we will communicate accordingly. We don't want to associate ourselves with this process. Dr. Hlophe is our candidate, and we don't have an alternate, as is the case and as is the process.
So you had no choice but to withdraw. Is that what you're saying?
We're saying we can't participate in a fraudulent process, which is going to blemish our name, which is going to blemish Dr. Hlophe, and which goes against the will of South Africans who voted for uMkhonto weSizwe in Parliament.
Very well. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming in studio. We're going to have to leave it there with the spokesperson for the uMkhonto weSizwe party.